Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening to you. If you can hear me, just give us a thumbs up. If you can hear me, we are starting the meeting in few minutes.
Mi ò sẹ́ni kan sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí. Also miss you.
Tayo, you're not audible. We can't hear you. No. No. We can't hear you.
What about now? Good morning, good afternoon.
Yes. Yes, we can now.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome to this wonderful program today. My name is Adebusi Tayo Lumadiwa from the Youth Development Initiative. This is a wonderful program from us.
You need to mute people who are not talking. There's a lot of background noise. You need to mute people who are not speaking.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me now? All right. Thank you so much. My name is Adebusi Olutayo Lumadiwa. I'm from the Dream Youth Development Initiative. We're based in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon. It's a wonderful edition of International Day of Girl, International Day of Women and Girls in Science. My name is Adibusu Olutayo Olumadewa. I'm the founder and the CEO of Do the Dream Youth Development Initiative. It's going to be an awesome event today because we have dynamic personality online today. We have great personalities whose track record in STEMs actually wow people from the north, from the south, from the east, and from the west of the whole world to this time. And that's why we brought some of them to this series, the first of its kind in Lagos, Nigeria, to discuss and to teach and to train and mentor people on STEM in way in which we can accelerate the sustainable development in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it's awesome. It's awesome. And I would love to introduce our wonderful speakers at these wonderful events. We have Mrs. Sinuke on the stage already. Mrs. Sinuke, if you just love to say one or two or welcome our guests to this wonderful event. Over to you, just to welcome us you people to this event.
All right. Good afternoon from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Tayo and the entire Do the Dream Youth Development Initiative team for making this happen. I look forward to an interactive session. It's hard time we shouted over the rooftops on how to ensure that women, participate more in careers around STEM. And I look forward to the action plan that will come from this conversation as we encourage our girls and our young women, to pursue careers in STEM so that we can have a better world and society. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have magnificent personality online as well. Dr. Adetola Salao. Dr. Adetola Salao is the special advisor to Kwara State Governor on education. A wonderful personality whose insight in making people become assets, inspire many to follow her and to learn from her. Dr. Adetola Salao, please, we just want to hear your voice to welcome you to this wonderful event today. Over to you, Dr. Adetola Salao.
Good afternoon, everyone from Port Ilorin. How are you all? It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to speaking
I'm
later.
fine, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Dr. Adetola Salao. That's a wonderful personality. STEM prof herself. If you go anywhere in the world and they ask, you know who STEM prof is, and you said you've never heard of it, that person, you are joking. From the north to the south, from the east to the west, there's only one STEM prof, and that's Dr. Adetola Salao. Again, we have one of our great minds, the CEO of Tech City Online as well, Mr. Doyin Diwola, a great personality as well. Mr. Doyin, we just want to welcome you so that you welcome and say hi to our guests as well. Mr. Doyin, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tayo. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great privilege to be here to learn about STEM and how we can take it forward and to see what Do the Dream is doing for the teeming population out there. So we thank everyone for being here. Thank you for joining. We hope that at the end of this whole program, everybody will have taken one thing or two away from this event. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Do the Dream.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Doyin. That's excellent. We have Olashibomi Shofowora as well online. Olashibomi Shofowora, it's the time to welcome you. The people would love to hear that your wonderful and great voice. Olashibomi Shofowora, over to you. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. We'll move straight to the next. We have this is just still a welcome session. We want to thank everybody for joining us. And if you have a question, kindly make use of the comment section as well as we go straight to the reasons why we are here today. Again, my name is Adebusuyo Olutayo Olumadewa, and it's awesome for me to actually be the one moderating with some of our leaders at this wonderful time. I know it's a pleasure, and I want to thank everyone for joining this session. Like I said, I would like to take one expectation from one of our audience. What's your expectation for this event, and what are you thinking of? What you are thinking of taking home from this wonderful event? If you would like to be that one person, can you please raise your hands? Raise your virtual hand so that I can bring you up. Raise your virtual hand to learn of your expectation on this wonderful event. Okay, you have to raise your virtual hand. Okay, virtual hand. Am I seeing somebody raising your hand? Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. Oh, Abisoye Oyeni, you are raising your hand, right? So I'll be bringing you up now. Just in 30 seconds, your expectation for this wonderful event. Over to you, can unmute now, Abisoye.
My expectation is that as young girls and ladies, we should be enlightened on how we can choose our careers in a STEM-based manner, be it science, technology, engineering, or having to do with mathematics. Thank you.
That's excellent. Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you so much, Abisoye. So I'm welcoming one of the board of trustees of the Dream, Mrs. Tubosun Afolayan, for our wonderful session, for their opening trunk. Mr. Afolayan, Mrs. Tubosun Afolayan, over to you. Over to you, Mrs. Tubosun Afolayan, if you can hear me, over to you. Okay. It's not around. It's all right. So, okay, thank you so much. Also, we would like to recognize the presence of Permanent Secretary, our Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Lagos State, ably represented by Mr. A. Adebisi, the Director, Science and Tech, Basic Education. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are here, please just signify for recognition. Mr. Adebisi, Director, Basics and Science and Tech. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Since Mr. Davis is not here. Thank you. Okay, I'm waiting for his response. Mr. Adebisi, can you hear me? Oh, all right. So quick one, Mrs. Tubosun Afolayan, can you hear me as well? Also, Apollion, can you hear me as well? Right, thank you. While waiting for them, I'll just quickly do my welcome address for this session. Tackling some of the greatest challenges of the sustainable development, from improving health to combating climate change, we rely on harnessing talents. That getting more women and girls, young and old, working in this field will inspire the result that is good for the people and for the planet. Diversity in research, expand the pool of talented researchers, bringing in fresh perspective. Talents and creativity must be seen as a living thing in order to create the needed force that will build the environment that works for young people. Ladies and gentlemen, as the world is going through challenges, the challenge of climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, improve strengths in recognizing the urgency to take effective, coordinated, and timely local international action to tackle the systematic threat posed by the Triple Sustainable Development Goal. So in achieving this, STEM education plays a crucial role in preparing young people for a future of complex challenges, such as globalization, digitalization, and as well climate change. To close this gap, STEM as a catalyst for sustainable development is a clarion call to give women and girls a robust opportunity to build back better. It also inspires acceleration of sustainable development goals by allowing she to thrive in its choice of influence without any sense of threat to E, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and mentally. Ladies and gentlemen, to welcome you to STEM as a catalyst for sustainable development. As I welcome Mrs. Tuposun Afolayan for our excerpt notes. Mrs. Tuposun Afolayan, can you, the floor is yours now.
Do you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, and thank you for joining us on this August occasion. Before we get into the conversation around STEM and listening to our keynote speaker and our panelists, I'd like to first of all say a very big thank you to the organization and operational members, Board of Trustees as well, of Do the Dream Youth Development Initiative, and every partner organization, Lagos State, Kwara State, the American Corner, everyone that has partnered with us in various facets, in various activities, in ensuring that our courses for STEM development, but more importantly, empowering students, females, and all genders come to light. I'd like to share 3 things today to get the conversation going as a matter of opening. The topic today is STEM as a tool or STEM as a catalyst for sustainable development. We all know what a catalyst is. A catalyst is something that starts a reaction. So it may not be the end of the reaction, but it starts it, and this reaction keeps going. It's the same way that life happened through oxygen, and God breathed life, and thereafter we started procreating and multiplying. So how can STEM also help as a catalyst for sustainable development? The first thing I'd like to talk about is our understanding that representation matters. Representation, the people that we speak to, the people our educators speak to, where they learn from, where our children or people who were being taught also learn from. The challenge for representation mattering goes beyond diversity and inclusion. It is about equity. It is ensuring that we strengthen the gender story. We strengthen DEI to ensure that long-term efforts actually contribute to inclusion. First thing, representation matters. The second thing is we must continue to challenge stereotypes. We must continue to measure our projects. We must continue to ensure. Is the audio better now? Okay, we must continue to ensure that stereotypes change our mindsets such that organization must shift from what used to work. Probably need to mute everyone. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Great. So I've talked about representation mattering. The second one is around challenging stereotypes. So what used to work before may not necessarily be what will work tomorrow. So in building and using STEM as a catalyst, we must ensure that we keep challenging stereotype and we ensure that our progress is being measured. And the third thing I would like to leave us with today is we must always think future forward. What does future forward mean? Future forward is everybody's responsibility. It should be embraced like a political cause. Advancing the world for sustainable development is no longer okay, probably need to Mr. Adekunle here. You know, we probably need to start thinking of sustainable development as our next future. And that's what the context of future forward means. Changing it from just being STEM to being a political cause, but importantly, everyone participates in it. And I'd like to round off by sharing about what Pearl Wellstone talks about politics. This is really bad. I can't even hear myself.
Man. Hello, we have muted all.
Okay, so I'm going to round up here, and I wanted to share a quote that says, politics is about doing well for the people. Politics is not about ourselves. It's about doing well for the people. And the next politics that will change our life is sustainable development. So how do we do well for people and using the subjects of science, technology, engineering, mathematics? So thank you and have a good deliberation. Bye. Back to you, Tayo. I'm done.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Tuboso Afolayan, for that wonderful presentation. It's rich, robust, and wonderful. Thank you. Please, if you are not speaking, kindly mute yourself. We have been muting people, and it seems some people are unmuting themselves as well. Kindly mute people. From here, we mute all, and please, we would love you to stay mute as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As we welcome the next speaker, as we welcome the next speaker, Mrs. Obi Ajuroluya. Mrs. Obi, are you online? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome a wonderful and a dynamic personality, a mother to a lot of people, a mentor to a lot of people, and an asset worth emulating. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome to this floor now, Dr. Adetola Salao, the Special Advisor to Kwara State Governor on Education. Dr. Adetola Salao, the floor is yours now. Dr. Adetola Salao, the floor is yours. Dr. Adetola Salao, the floor is yours. Okay, while we're waiting for Dr. Adetola Salao, Mrs. Tinuke Bosun Okusaga, we would love you to have the session now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tayo, and thank you to our wonderful audience for your time so far. I am a management consultant, so my conversation this afternoon will be around the workplace, the bias that goes on within the workplace as far as STEM is concerned. And I'm happy that on the platform this afternoon, we have a combination of students, we have teachers, stakeholders within the education sector, because some of the things I'll be sharing will help us develop the necessary tools or the necessary capacity to ensure that our students and our children are made ready for the work environment. All right, so I will start from within the work environment. What are the kinds of bias that women face, especially around STEM? All right, so I have two main biases that I have penned down here, which I'll be sharing with you. The first bias comes from where we want women to prove themselves a little bit more. And that bias is called prove it again bias. What does this mean? It means when we give two people an opportunity, there's a man and a woman that we're given opportunity for a promotion. And when it's time for that promotion, we'll tell the woman that, based on your performance so far, we think you still need time. We think you still need to prove yourself a little bit more. But when we look at the man, we say the man has potential. Let's give him the push. Let's give him the opportunity because he has shown potential. But a woman has to do a little bit more to prove her mantle. She needs to do a little bit more to show she can occupy that position. All right. So the call is to all of us, within the work environment, when it comes to promotion, when it comes to development opportunities, are we equitable in our dealings? Do we apply the same criteria? Do we apply the same yardstick, all right, in giving men and women opportunities? So that bias of prove it again, we always want to push the woman harder to show that she has the strength. Are you sure you have stamina? Are you sure you can, you can work long hours? All those comments that we make within the work environment. And then we want to test and see that the woman has the strength to carry on the role is a form of bias. And it is very important that we highlight it so that when we see it, we can identify it and deal with it. The second kind of bias that women face in the workplace, especially around STEM careers, is the maternal wall bias. What do I mean by maternal wall? Because a woman goes through the cycle of pregnancy and child delivery. It's the tendency to overlook them, the tendency to make decisions, when they are observing either a maternity leave or they are nursing their babies. We make decisions and then, we jump over them, all right, because we just think, this person won't have enough time. She won't be committed. She won't have the stamina. She won't have the strength because she's pregnant or because she's nursing a child. And then we make decisions that can further their career. And we make those decisions to their disadvantage just because the woman is nursing a child or the woman is pregnant. It is called maternal wall bias. So it's very important we also identify this as a form of bias. When you need to make a decision about a woman's career, about a woman's progress, and you limit her progress because of pregnancy, because of childbearing, because of child nursing, then you are biased. All right, so it's important to highlight these barriers within the work environment so that we can know it's a bias and we'll deal with it. And again, what do I want to talk about? I also like to look at why this gap exists. We talk about gaps between opportunities between men and women within the work environment. What are the underlying causes? What are the root causes of this kind of bias? It is also very important to know the history. When you know the purpose behind something, you can deal with it precisely. All right, so some of these gaps we see in careers between men and women are largely because also women at some point, they give up their career goals, they give up their career aspirations because they say, I'm getting married, or I'll soon start having children. I don't want to go through all that stress. The job can be demanding. And women themselves, throw it all out and say, you know what, I can't do this again. I'm no longer interested. They give it up. All right, so women, we also need to speak with ourselves. Salahuddin Riskat, please, you need to mute. So women, this is a rallying call to ourselves also. When those opportunity comes for you to prove yourself and you decide to throw in the towel and say, because of marriage, because I need to balance, this conversation around balance of work and home, balance work and life, and opportunities come and we don't rise up to it. This further causes the gap we see in terms of career progress between men and women. All right. Another reason why this thing happens is historical prejudices, because, we all grew up at some point in time, depending on the part of the world you grew up in. This historical prejudice that, women are meant to stay back at home and nurture children and take care of the home, while the men are the ones who are supposed to go out there to make things happen. Some women have grown up with this mentality. Some women have grown up with this prejudice. And so they don't rise up to positions of authority. They don't rise up to demanding and challenging opportunities because somewhere in their lineage, somewhere from the family they grew up, they've been told that women don't aspire, women don't work in some areas, women don't attain some positions. All right, so if you are a woman here and you come from that background, and this is also a call to you. All right, this is the 21st century and things have changed, things have moved up. All right, so you need to reorientate yourself that that career I aspire to, that role I want to assume. That position I admire. There is nothing stopping me from going for it. It is only the stories I've heard in times past, historical prejudices that I've heard in time past. And it's time for me to reorientate myself and pursue my dreams. All right. So you need to stand up and, take hold of that dream, take hold of that career choice, that career aspiration you have, and go for it. All right. I've seen women who drive ships. I mean, recently, we worked with NIMASA, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, to go to secondary schools to talk to girls. And we went with a captain, a woman who drives a ship. All right. She navigates the ship on the ocean. I've seen women pilots, women who drive planes. All right. So it depends on you. It's all about what you want to achieve. Don't let all those stories, old wife fables you've heard in times past, don't let it limit you. Don't let it stand in your way, because this is a new world. This is a new age and a world of possibilities. All right. So historical prejudices and women letting go themselves. You find yourself amongst friends who says, you know what, that kind of job, you better save your home. You better protect your home. You better, you are responsible for your children. If you are not there 24/7, your children can turn out bad. And because of all these stories we hear, we give up our aspirations and dreams. All right. Who says we cannot have it all? Yes, you can have it all. I mean, it's all about finding out the coping mechanisms to make these things work. All right. So the call is to young ladies on this call, young women on this call, that don't let all those stories you've heard about women, cannot have it all. You have to choose one between your home and career. You have to rise up and know that those things are lies. All right. We have the Okojo Wellas. We have women to show for it who have maintained home and also achieved the highest level of career they want. All right. So going back to the schools and going back to the work environment, what is our role? What can we do to ensure that all these biases, all these prejudices, all these gaps that we see, in opportunities between men and women, how do we close these gaps? What is our role in ensuring, we have a balance, all right, in terms of career progression? Number one is equal pay for equal work, all right, to employers of labor. When you employ two people and you find out that the man is earning more than the woman, you should look for every opportunity to ensure that that pay gap is closed. If I am doing the same kind of work you're doing, there's no basis to earn lesser than you. All right. So employers of labor, we need to audit our payroll process, audit our compensation management process, and ensure that there is equal pay for equal work. Another area we need to focus on in ensuring that we close these gaps, all right, between men and women, is for women ourselves to start supporting women. All right, I've sat on interview panels where, the man that is hiring, the head of department hiring, said that, for this role, I want just men. And I said, why just men? He said, because it requires, it's a work within a factory. And then, men can work longer hours, and then women can't work longer hours. And I had to challenge him. And I said, have you, is it because, what is fueling that insinuation? Where is that ideology? Where did it come from? He said that there was a lady I had at some point, and, she couldn't withhold the stamina. I said, so now you are generalizing. That's a stereotype, because you've experienced, there are men too that can't work long hours. So it's not just about gender. All right, because you've experienced it with one woman, that now forms, a thinking. It has now become an ideology that, for this position, I will only focus on men. I will not hire women. And I said, no, you need to give everybody opportunity. All right, let them prove themselves, before you take that decision. Don't just make a blanket decision that, okay, because it involves so number of hours, a woman cannot thrive in it. All right, so the call is back to us. When you're hiring, when it's time to recruit, and people are throwing out women and saying women cannot do, I want just men, we need to stand up and say, you know what, we need to give give everybody the opportunity. We need to open the opportunity to everybody to prove themselves, because you can never tell until you give that person the opportunity. But once you disqualify the person without giving that person an opportunity, then that means you have shut the door against that person, and you are further enlarging and further expanding the gap, all right, between men and women achieving their career goals. We all know to a large extent that when it comes to nurturing children and raising children, a lot falls on the laps of women. And if these women are not developed, that is going to be transmitted to the children they are breeding. All right. If a woman is not mentally challenged, if a woman is not doesn't have her career aspirations achieved, she's going to take it out of the children. She's going to limit the children, and then we'll continue that cycle of poverty, that cycle of people living in disillusion. All right. So that is why we need to stand up and say, you know what, we will give everybody that equal opportunity, whether it's a man or a woman, and we are not going to limit you because of your gender. All right. So women need to start supporting women. A woman that has achieved a level of growth in her career, you need to look at the other women and show them how. You shouldn't be the one sitting in the boardroom and also disqualifying women. Rather, you should find out what is the challenge of that woman and help her and show her the way up. Because the reason you have achieved that position is because you should open the door for others. All right. So women need to start supporting women. Whatever it is you did to attain that position, whatever it is you did to achieve that career milestone, you need to show other people the way so that we can further close the gap between men and women. And of course, parents. The third call is to parents. All right, you have a male and a female child, and all the opportunities is more tilted towards the man, because you feel, okay, the woman, she will go and marry. She will go to her husband's house one day. And because of that, you limit her potential, you limit her opportunity. I always tell people this story that after I left school, and I was, between getting a job and, getting married. I remember my father telling my husband to be there. He said, you know what, I've heard you want to marry my daughter, but we can have this conversation again after she has secured a job. All right. I want her to have economic power. All right. So gone are the days when we have female children and we think their career ends in their husband's house. And we think they can't make anything for themselves except to get married. All right. So parents, we need to stand up to the challenge. And also to schools, principals, teachers. I was telling somebody that I went to a science school, Wesley College of Science in Ibadan, and throughout the years I spent there, all the teachers that taught sciences were always men. Physics, chemistry, maths, they were always men. Why don't we have physics female teachers? Why don't we have physics chemistry teacher? What is also happening in that space? All right, that most of the female teachers are also tilting towards arts. They are tilting towards the commercial courses. Why don't we have? Because I believe if we have more teachers around these STEM areas, they can also inspire the young girls. All right, they can motivate the young girls that you can do this. So in terms of hiring teachers, also in terms of developing teachers, we also need to focus on how do we get more female teachers, all right, into the STEM industry and within the STEM space. I believe if we can channel our priorities around these key areas, around further developing our education system to promote female teachers around STEM and also closing the gap within the work environment, we can start seeing the result we want to see. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'll yield my mic right now to the coordinator, Mr. Olumadewa.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Tinuke Bosun Okusaga, for that wonderful presentation. That's rich. That's rich. Ladies and gentlemen, technology has a way of doing his thing. I've been trying to switch on my video for a few minutes now, but I'm working on it. So we're going to see the face. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving straight to the next personality, which is Dr. Adetola Salawu. However, before we call on Dr. Adetola, we would love to quickly correct this mix-up to welcome Director of Science and Tech, Ministry of Basic Science and Technology, Mrs. Akinfoyewa Grace. She will be representing the Permanent Secretary. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Adetola Salawu, a wonderful personality from Kwara State, doing wonderful things, letting the world know that impossible is nothing, letting young people thrive, letting young men aspire a greater height, letting the old people know they are not going to pack their bags yet, letting male and female know that they can still be speaking for the generation. Ladies and gentlemen, with a virtual ovation, let's welcome Dr. Adetola Salawu to the stage. Now, over to you, Dr. Adetola. It's your session now.
Okay. I don't know. It's really hard to hear. If you feel like the fan is making too much noise, I will get up. I'll go turn it off. But I have to tell you, there's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit here, so it's really hot. And that's why I have it on. I apologize. So thank you for having me here today. I appreciate always talking about STEM to our young ones. And as I was listening to the previous speaker, so many thoughts came to my mind, so many. I mean, I know I should stick to my own, but listening to her gave me so many flashbacks, so many memories. I even shared on my, let me even read that, because I shared it on my WhatsApp status today. So I would like to read it as inspiration for all of us, okay? So give me a minute, let me read this. All right, so yeah, yesterday I saw on Twitter a lady sharing, I wish I had planned ahead of time and it was on my laptop, I would have been able to share the picture with all of you. She shared a picture of herself as a young girl sitting on top of a Jeep car, SUV. Any of us that are quote unquote legends over the age of 35 or 40 will know the Jeep cars I'm talking about. Those are the old school Jeep cars. And she was sitting on top of this as a young girl. And she said at this age that she was when she was sitting on the car, she asked a teacher if she can work for NASA. I hope we all know who NASA is. NASA are the people who work with the astronauts, with space travels, everything to do with the space agents in the US, the foremost space agents in the world. And she was asking a teacher if she could work for NASA. And the teacher laughed at her. He was a man. He laughed at her. And he laughed because her parents were not graduates. And they never graduated high school, not talk of university. And she said it had been a difficult road for her, but she's now at the age of 38. Her biggest dream has come true. She started working with, she's going to start working in NASA later this year, 2024. And she's graduating with a PhD in astrophysics. Astrophysics, not just physics. Physics already is hard, but astrophysics. So as I was listening to our previous speaker, it just occurred to me that one of the issues, one of the greatest impediments, a lot of times are teachers. And I want to encourage our students because I saw that quite a number of students are here. So I'm going off topic now, and I'm going to something that just struck a chord in my heart, listening to the previous speaker. And of course, when I saw that picture yesterday and I shared it, is first of all, teachers, you guys are such an important part of building this pipeline of STEM students that we need. I can personally attest to what this young lady posted, that picture, where a teacher tried to kill her dream of being a scientist. It happened to me. Mine even happened to be a physics teacher. So that was why I kept emphasizing physics. And I know how difficult it is when they're the ones who try to kill it. And then you ask yourself, is it possible? Can you still make it? So teachers, I want you to speak life to your students, no matter how challenging it is for them. Your role is to encourage them, particularly science literacy is very important. They might not end up being scientists, they might not end up being in the science fields, but making sure that you encourage them to at least appreciate and hopefully love science so that they can be scientifically literate. This is something that I saw that was very key during COVID, when there were so many misconceptions that passed around about what, comprised of the illness, what were the things to take, what were the things to do. So teachers, I really want you to please pay close attention to our students, what you speak, what you say to them, and what you pour into them. And then students, I said I was going to speak to you directly. We need more of you as scientists. Yes, I'm seeing you. We need more of you as scientists. We need more of you as researchers. And when you go to school and your teachers are discouraging you, I want you to remember, let me find that picture of the young lady. So I'll just show you my phone so you can see it. I'll enlarge it, okay? I want you to remember that this woman now is now, there we go. So that's the, what do you do this? Oh yes, there we go. This young woman now is that's the age she was when her teacher told her that she couldn't work for NASA. And then I'll quickly go on my phone so you can see what she looks like now. She's now working, she's gonna work for NASA, and she has a PhD in astrophysics. So do not let anybody kill your dreams. Do not let anybody tell you that it's impossible. What you need to find, and what I found, was find people who will encourage you. They don't always have to be your teacher. They don't always have to be in school. They could be maybe a family friend, somebody who that is associated with your parents, or somebody you've just seen and you admire. And the person is a scientist. The person is in the science field. You could go approach the person and say, look, I really admire you. I would love to talk to you. I'd love to chat with you. Every time I go to speak at places, I always give students my numbers and tell them you can always reach me on WhatsApp. I don't mind chatting with you. You can reach me on Facebook. And I do. Whenever I see their messages, I respond to them, I encourage them, and I speak life into them. So find people who will encourage you. And let me tell you another thing that I know that's so wonderful for you guys. You guys, I like to call you the blessed generation. And the reason I call you the blessed generation is so many tools are on your phones. YouTube in particular. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, YouTube is y'all's best friend. You can find so much content that will boost your science literacy, that will make you appreciate science. In fact, I tell people that one of the greatest things that ever happened to me was my son learning how to research by himself, and then him coming back and feeding me all the information. When I was even working on my PhD, do you know that my son used to give me so much information on YouTube? He used to play all these videos on the TV for me, and he will educate me. So he kept me up to date. In fact, let me even give you how valuable a resource what he used to share with me was. We had an event where we were going to fly drones for students. This is when I was still working with Lagos State. We had an event where we were going to fly drones for the students. And that morning, I happened to tell my son where we were going to fly those drones. And my son actually told me, you guys are not going to be able to fly those drones. And I didn't really pay attention to him because we were in a hurry, we were rushing, we wanted to go set up. We had a whole event planned and we were going to do all of these things. And we got to the place, and let me tell you where the place was. It was Agege in Lagos there. So we went to Agege, and sorry, this is such a great memory for me. So we get to Agege, and we're talking to the students. We set up, it's wonderful. Guess what? Now time to fly the drone. And we put the drones, and to fly them, we couldn't fly them. And we kept trying, we tweaked, we did this, we did that, we didn't fly them. And then I remember my son telling me we couldn't fly. And then that was when I now remembered something he had said when I was entering into the car, and I did not pay attention to what he had said. He said, you guys cannot fly those drones because you're near a no-fly zone. No-fly zone, Agege, any of us who are conversant and very familiar with Lagos environment, will know that Agege is very close to the international airport and the local airports there in Lagos. Those are no-fly zones for drones. That's what my son was trying to tell me. And the reason he told me that was because he knew all this information because of research from YouTube. So please, instead of just going to watch comedies, to watch shows, use your data to also follow science content, read, explore, find out about what's happening in other places in the world. Find out, educate yourself. You'll be amazed how that information will come back one day and serve you. And then when you're having a conversation with somebody, they'll look at you and say, wow, he's such a conversant young man, such a conversant young woman. She knows this, she knows that. Wow, she's well-read. And then it can give you a leg up when you're also, applying for programs, scholarship, maybe whatever programs. There's a way people respect you and look up to you when they see that you are really, really well read, you're exposed, you understand things, and you're able to tie all of these things that you understand together. So again, I want to encourage you. Don't say, oh, they made science boring for me in school. Oh my God, this is just too much. I can't really. No. On your own, go educate yourself. Go get familiar. Get excited about it. So let me see. I don't want to start going on my phone because it kind of will feel rude. So I will, let me see. Can you see it? No, you can't. All right, so I'll tell you the name of the young lady, her name on Twitter, so you can go find her for yourself. And I'll type it inside the chat also too. Her name is Charity Woodrum. I'll type it in the chat. Go look for her on Twitter, Charity Woodrum. She wanted to be in NASA and she was discouraged, and now she's an astrophysicist, a doctorate, and she's going to be working in NASA. So I want you guys to have that as encouragement for yourself. So please, in closing, I want to encourage you once again. Don't worry, we're not all going to be scientists. We're not all going to be researchers. We're not going to be engineers. But trust me, whether we like it or not, tech is infused in every part of our life. So it will actually behoove you to understand it, to be able to utilize it well. In fact, let me tell you one thing that I love about life. No matter how old you are, you should never, ever stop learning. Today, I was just online chatting with somebody who I consider my mentee, which means he's supposed to be learning from me. But guess what? Today, I'm going to be learning from him. He told me that he's setting up a class around teaching about using AI tools, the ChatGPT, Jenny, all those tools. And I told him, I said, oh my God, sign me up for that. I want to be a part of that class. I want to learn. I want to know how to use that for research. Do you see that I'm making sure that I continue to educate and enlighten myself? You see that I'm constantly making sure that I'm updating myself and I'm using the tools that are around me. So there's no barrier for age. There's no barrier as long as you just realize that this is all that matters, your mind, and you continue to work on your mind. So don't let anybody be a barrier for you. And that's what I'm going to end with. Thank you. Oh yes, let me type her name here, of course. Is NASA, not NASA Studies, NASA. NASA is space agency in the US. And then I'll type the lady's name too. Did I say Charity? All right, thank you. Should I wait for questions or do I sign off?
You can wait for questions once and for all. So before you
Okay,
wait
I'll
for your thank
I'll
you.
wait.
So we have Dr. Adetola. She'll be taking 2 questions before she leaves. So who is going first? Dr. Adetola will be taking 2 questions before she leaves. Who is going first?
Is it for only science students?
Yes, I was even about to answer that. No, of course, STEM is not only for science students. What was it that I emphasized over and over and over? I said science literacy. That means understanding science, applying it to your life. Let me give you an example of science literacy. Why science literacy is important. One of the things very negligent of in this society is medication. We abuse medication. But do you know that you have to be careful about that because there's a limit for your liver and your kidneys. There you go. That's the other organ. See, I have to remember. I have to go back to my biology. There's a limit, particularly with certain drugs. Once your body reaches that limit, oh my God, it is not good. But you see, if you're scientifically literate, you're in the class when your teacher was talking about functions of the kidney, functions of the liver, and you were paying attention, you will know that the last thing you want to do is abuse drugs because it has negative effects on the body. That's why science literacy really. All right, next.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I have a question.
How can one make use of the tool you have mentioned?
I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm just looking at the.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I'm just looking at the messages. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, ma'am. If you want to become a medical doctor, what are the subjects that you need?
Okay, first of all, I just saw that I should greet my TGPS in Lagos District 6. Auntie, good afternoon. God bless you. And I see that my former, well, I guess forever Director of Science and Tech, who is representing our ABLE PS for Ministry of Education Lagos, is also here too. Auntie, I'm greeting you too. I miss you guys now that I'm in Kwara, but don't worry, we're all still together. All right, so if you want to be a medical doctor, what subjects should you take? Biology, definitely, because you need to understand anatomy. You have to have chemistry. Chemistry is the study of all matter and how they interact. So you really, really need to understand that. Then, of course, physics. You need to understand physics too. So you need that. And then I will recommend, we don't recommend reading and comprehension enough. In my own, sorry, but this is my own peculiarity. I actually think, particularly if you decide that you're somebody who wants to do a lot of research or you want to travel out of the country, you really should do literature so that you can really read vastly, so that way comprehension of language, being able to write, because when you're taking those exams that are those foreign exams, being able to write is really, really, really important. So I really recommend literature for people who want to study medicine, particularly if you want to take those exams and go abroad. I will recommend literature. So I said physics, biology, chemistry, and then I mentioned literature. I mean, the other ones are privy to what your interests are. But that literature, there's a reason I mentioned it. You need to do a lot more reading. And when you're over there, when you're overseas, trust me, you're going to be doing so much reading and writing. You need to be very, very strong in that area. All right, I will allow 2 more questions because you only said 2.
May I have a question?
I'll allow 2 more, and then I'll leave.
I have a question, please.
So what? Mama,
What's that? Who is that?
Thank you.
I have a question.
Hold on.
All right, let me answer that.
Okay, go ahead.
Muting me. All right, there we go. Yes. You can combine literature with being a science student. I was a science student. I mean, my first degree in science chemistry, and I studied literature. And that's why I said I can say this strongly. That is very, very, very important to do a lot of reading and be able to write very well. All right, 2 more. Let the host choose.
What is astrophysics?
Astrophysics is physics that has to do with studying astronomy, the stars. Remember, what did I say NASA is? NASA is the space agency in the US, which means they are working on the study of the planets, the stars, galaxy, solar system, you understand? So that's what she's studying. It's very hard, let me tell you, very, very hard. All right.
May I have a question?
Thank you so much.
So hold on. Mohammed has a question. Yes, Mohammed, what's your question?
Ma, please, what is astronomy and what is physics?
Okay. Astronomy has to do with everything that has to do with the sky, space, as astronomy. Then physics, how we study, what do I describe as physics? Physics is how we understand the way the world interacts and relates with each other, like the systems. You know, we talk about light, we talk about power. Okay, power is light, duh. Oh, heat. Okay, heat. Come on. So like you can remember sound. All these different things. How do we work with them? What are the underlying principles underneath them? What are the things that we change here and there to tweak around? In a nutshell, that's the way I look at physics. That's how I used to teach it. You know, the systems, how do things relate? How do we relate? How do we work around with them? Because I used to teach physical science. I used to teach physical science. And I taught physical science for what you guys call SS1 and SS2. I used to teach physical science. I remember that's how I defined physics. All right, so I've answered my 2 questions, but people still have questions. Somebody's asking me, what advantage does science have over other subjects? My dear, do you want me to stay here forever? I'm very biased. I can keep answering that question over and over and over and over. Why do I think that science gives you an advantage? Science gives you an advantage because you really understand how things work. And you are able to understand the principles underneath systems. So the way you think is you're always thinking solutions, you're always thinking systems, you're always thinking processes. And science is hard. You know, when things are hard, it teaches you to be resilient in the way you think, the way you act. Really
Ma,
does.
please don't ask
There's
cosmology.
so many advantages. All right.
Sorry, we have to move
I
to the
think I
next.
Ma, what was cosmology?
Sorry, I'll keep asking
Students,
questions.
it's
I think
okay.
it's time for this.
Time is fast spent. Dr. Adetola, I want to thank you for your time. I know you are such a busy personality, even to bring you to this program. I know what it takes for you to accept and the meeting I had to bring you out from. Also, to let the whole world know that Dr. Adetola and Do the Dream will be hosting a session on the 17th and the 18th at the United Nations on the 17th and 18th March. I would love you to talk about that so that the whole world can know the beautiful things that you are doing for Nigeria, both Lagos State and both in Kwara State, and the kind of things you are expected to come with from the collaborations with Do the Dream that will be happening on the 17th and 18th of March at the United Nations headquarters during the 68th session of the Committee of the Status of Women. We would like to do that so that we can move to the next phase. Thank you. Over to you, Dr.
All right, of course. I am so excited about that session. Anything that has to do with promoting science for girls is very, very dear to me. Like I shared earlier, and you saw how I deviated from my topic because of listening to the previous speaker. I know what I went through in secondary school and even in university, even in graduate school. You know, some of these prejudices still exist and they push and they press against us. So anything that advances women is very dear to me. And for the same reasons that, or some of the reasons that the speakers had mentioned, which is, think about it. I keep telling people, for the most part, and I still say for the most part, because not everybody, because my first teacher was actually my dad, but for the most part, a child's first teacher is their mother. And if, like she said, if your mother is someone who does not have the mental capacity, who does not understand science, who does not love learning, who does not inspire that in you, you're already hitting the gates way behind. But if your mother is somebody who is going to inspire you, who is going to motivate you, who is going to encourage you, trust me, you're already at the gate. So on the 17th and on the 18th, next month in New York, I am really, really excited to be partnering and collaborating with this organization, talking about how we're going to advance science learning for our girls here in Kwara State. And hopefully people will learn from our best practices so they can spread across Nigeria. So I'm really, really excited about the work we're going to be doing. I'm so excited. I mean, I'm telling everybody, about it. So I'm really, really excited about it. And we're going to come back and we're going to share, what occurred there and why it's beneficial. And we're also going to I know we are. We're going to come back with so many partnerships with the organizations and individuals there in the US, particularly at that kind of stage and at the UN, and be able to now step it down for our students and our teachers over here. So I'm quite excited.
Thank you, Dr. Adetola, for that wonderful submission and for that presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I have one word or question or comment for Dr. Adetola. I know Kwara State embraced Kwara Learn. I think it's under the New Globe initiative. I think there's a partnership with New Globe.
Yes, we have that.
It will be good to also know about the success story that is bringing to Kwara. And I think Kwara is one of the progressive states, when it comes to education. And that has got my eyes on Kwara when I heard they partnered with New Globe.
Yes, literacy rates went up. But that's New Globe is primary schools. So literacy rates went up and numeracy rates went up. And we've also expanded the training to more schools, because it was a subset that was worked on for the first 4 years of His Excellency's tenure, 2019 to 2023. So now for this rest of this tenure, 2023 to 2027, we expanded the reach for more teachers, more students, more schools. And of course, now that I'm here, I'm also working on lots of EdTech initiatives, huge programs for girls. Making sure that their capacities are expanded, particularly with digital literacy. A lot of work around training for teachers. So you're going to be hearing a lot of things we're going to be rolling out. Don't worry. I'm going to make sure that you guys are seeing us.
All right,
Yeah.
great. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing, Dr. Adetola. Thanks so much for sharing, and thanks for your time, ladies and gentlemen. I
My
just got
WhatsApp
it.
number is in the group. My WhatsApp number is in the group.
All right.
All right, thank you.
I just got a flash from the message here that we have great people in our midst. Apologies. This is never an oversight. It's never an oversight. It's just that I'm just seeing the information. I tried to use my computer video a few minutes ago, and the video refused to come up, so I had to switch to mobile. That's where I didn't see the message earlier. I understand we have His Excellency, Governor of Lagos State, Honorable Commissioner of Basic and Secondary Education, and the TGP is here, present here, particularly Dr. Mrs. Yusuf Sherifat Ajoke, the Tutor General Permanent Secretary, Education District 6. Thank you so much for joining us. It's never an oversight. Some of your principals know me very well. They know I always give honor to whom honor is due. I'm just saying these messages now. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope before the end of this program, we can interact with you and just share and hear your thoughts on the beautiful things and the beautiful works you've been doing for STEM in the Education District 6, and how we can actually collaborate to take it forward as well. And in a few minutes, I understand we also have the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Basic Education and Science, ably represented by Mrs. Akinfoyewa Grace. Thank you so much again. Thank you. Sorry, forgive me for my mix-up. It's not intentional. We have to move to the next phase. And I would love to have Mr. Doyin Ijiwola for this session. And after Mr. Doyin Ijiwola will be engaging the PS with some of the beautiful things that he has been doing. So Mrs. Akinfoyewa, after Mr. Doyin will be engaging you. We would love to hear from you. We would love to learn from you. We want to build it from you as well. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Doyin Ijiwola. Over to you.
Good afternoon once again. I hope everybody can hear me loudly, clearly, I mean. So I want to stand on the existing protocol as established. It's an honor to be here. And for a few minutes, I just want to talk about STEM and tech and what many of our students on this call can do. They can learn from my own experience and what they can do, how they can get into tech and what they can do in tech. So I also have been listening to the other presentations. Fantastic, wonderful, great. I'm sure we have all learned one or two things from them. But there's a particular observation that I would like to start from. And it's the manner and the quality of question coming from our students. I think we must learn to do better. Students in the house, and please teachers, we must also be teaching our students how to ask questions. One of the things that every student should note is that don't ask a question you can ask Google in a public forum. I hear questions like, what is astrophysics? Or what is questions like that. Students should never ask those kind of questions in the age of technology. Even we didn't grow up in the age of technology like you do, we don't ask such questions. We'll go home, we'll research it. So please, students, don't ask questions you can ask Google. Frame your questions intelligently, because that is when people will take you seriously. I am not castigating you for the questions. I am just encouraging us to do better. Make sure that when you are in a public forum, you frame your question very well, because the quality of your questions determine how intelligent you are. All right. So after having done that, let me get to my session. So this afternoon, I'm going to be talking about tech and why STEM is the foundation for tech. So now, I work in tech. I have supervised, I've collaborated on so many projects in tech in many multinational, both Nigerian and abroad. So I've been privileged to have witnessed tech firsthand, how it makes life easier, how it revolutionizes the way we work, how it simplifies the way we work. So it is important that students growing up understand that either they like it or not, their future is tied to tech. Tech is coming in front of AI, tech is coming in front of automation. Every aspect of your life now involves tech. And for you not to be lost in a future not so distant, you need a great understanding of tech. You need to have more than a passive knowledge of tech. And you cannot do that if you don't have a background in STEM. I know somebody asked a question, was like, is this session only for science students? Well, I think the line is now blurred between science, art, commercial, whatever you want to put it. Our world has become so functional that all these things are intertwined. If you are a science student, you need to understand communication. You need to understand art. If you're an art student, you need to understand technology to a level. So beyond your curriculum to pass your exams and get your certificates, your learning must evolve beyond that. Your learning must start including trying to find out how things work. How things work outside of school. Like Dr. Salau said, there are so many great YouTube channels that you can find stuff from. There are so many channels that you can find out how things work. There are even channels called How Stuff Work, that you can go to and see how different things occur. So if you understand how they work, you don't necessarily have to be a science student. You don't necessarily have to be in science to understand how science works. The world around us is driven by STEM. And it will be good if you understand them. And by understanding them, it actually makes you to embrace, to appreciate tech, to appreciate STEM, and not feel like, oh, tech is not for me. So by showing beyond passive interest in STEM, you can actually be ensuring that your future is secured, that you are in the future, you are sure that in the future, you will not lose the battle to tech. So before I go this afternoon, I'd like to share a few points on how students, even teachers that are here, can actually embrace STEM as a foundation for tech. So one of the most important things that everybody needs, that is the foundation of learning, is curiosity. You must be curious. You must be inquisitive. You have to be inquisitive about your world. How does this world work? How does this thing happen? By asking those questions in your mind and by trying to solve them, you are already setting yourself up for the knowledge that you need to grow, to go beyond the level that you are in. So don't always settle for the norm, what is around you, or accept things the way they are. You must always ask questions. How are things done? Oh, we are on Zoom. We are having a webinar on Zoom. How does it happen? How does Zoom happen? Ask yourself those questions. Then go out and research them. By doing that, you are actually setting yourself up for knowledge beyond the ordinary. By going on the journey of discovery, you will discover other things that you can learn. So when you learn about how Zoom works to do webinar, you probably will learn about how the internet works. By learning how the internet works, you learn how computers are networked. You learn all this knowledge, and they are useful for you. Yes, you don't have to have a career in those things, but they allow you to function effectively in wherever you find yourself, because your future is going to be technologically dependent. Your future is dependent on technology. You cannot have any future out of technology as the world is growing. So by showing beyond normal, being curious, being inquisitive about how the world around you is running now, you are setting yourself up to have a great life, to be more than the average person. So the other thing after curiosity is be passionate. Live a life of passion. Don't settle for less. Be passionate about the positive things. There are a lot of distraction on the internet. There are a lot of distractions that technology offers us. Don't be distracted. Be passionate about your future. Be passionate about where you are going. Your passion will connect you to like minds. Your passion will unlock greater resources to you. When I started in technology, the world was not like this. It was only organizations that were having computers, that were having networks beyond the dial-up that I used to have at home. It is out of passion that took me to actually ask people who were working then, how are you people doing this? I'll be asking them questions because of my passion for this thing. And guess what? These people became my mentor. They started taking me around to companies. As a young age, as a teenager, I started seeing how this thing had done. So at a young age, I started learning how technology works. At the end of the day, I work in technology. Today, technology feeds my family. Technology takes care of everything. But it started by my passion when I was a teenager, because I was curious about it. It allows me to connect to resources that were beyond me. So be passionate. Be passionate. Your passion will open doors for you beyond you can think, beyond you can imagine. It will bring you resources. Another thing is that let your passion lead you to positive research. Sit down and do research. Sit down and learn. Learn how to learn. There is a course, there are books on how to learn. Learn how to learn properly. Because if you learn how to learn, it will make you learn faster. It will make you learn more effectively. It will make you learn to have results. So don't just stop at passion. Passion without knowledge will lead you nowhere. So add knowledge to your passion. And how will knowledge come? Knowledge will come by research. So instead of using your time to watch skits, I'm not saying skits are bad. You can watch skits, you can do other things, but take out time. Take out time to research things. Take out time to sit down and learn things. Then after you learn, don't just learn. Don't just become a sponge that just soak in everything. You know what you do? After you learn something, do it, practice it. By trying to do it, you will learn it better. You will learn where you have not learned. Then you also bring your cognitive muscles for that thing. So don't just learn. If you learn, for example, how to do something, maybe you learn how to code online. Don't just learn it and go. Try and code on your own. Try and build something. Try and do project. By doing it, you will grow your cognitive muscle. You'll be able to do that thing. You will learn better, and you'll also be able to teach others. So after that, collaborate. Seek out people who are doing what you are passionate about. There are so many of them. You can easily find them. Be bold to ask them, oh, you are in robotics. I am learning about robotics. I would like to collaborate with you. So collaborate with other people. By coming together with other people, you know what you're doing? You are multiplying your results. You are multiplying your effectiveness. You are collaborating with people who are bringing other stuff that you didn't know to you. They will open more resources to you. So like, what did I say? I said, 1, be curious. I said 2, be passionate. I said 3, research, knowledge. I said 4, do, practice what you learn. 5, I said collaborate. And 6, I say, 6, my last point today is that there are communities of these things around. There are community of tech, there are community of STEM for every age, young, old, whatever. Seek those community out and join them. Those community will motivate you, they will protect, they will propel you. And even when you are feeling discouraged, you will find somebody to encourage you. So STEM, like I said, is a doorway to technology. Technology is the key that holds our future. There's no other way to get into tech than STEM. And your future is so tech dependent. It's so tech dependent that it doesn't matter your field. It doesn't matter where you come from. You must actually learn tech. So if you are young right now, get into STEM. Follow those steps that I said. Apply it in your life. Then do it over again. You will see the changes. You will look back and say, oh, I've gone this far. How did I do it? So that's my charge for you this afternoon. So, Mr. Tayo, how do we go? I saw somebody, there's Mohammed raising up his hand since the beginning of my presentation. Do you have a question for me? Are we taking questions, Mr. Tayo?
All right, thank you, Mr. Doyin. We'll be good. Thank you, all the questions together. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. Yes. You know, one of the key things that inspire me more about the Mr. Doyin's trainings and Mr. Doyin teaches is how you connect every other field to tech. Mr. Doyin keeps telling us that it's tech that is holding every other things together. We had a program a few days ago, the first leadership session program, leadership library built at Ayedele Ajibola Senior High School, which is actually on the UN platform. Mr. Doyin was talking about the importance of tech, how it's connecting everything together. Sorry, 1 minute. How it's connecting everything together, and why are you here? Sorry, 1 minute. And why each and everybody must actually leverage on tech to accelerate its course. Thank you so much, Mr. Doyin. We're still going to come back to you for that. We're still going to come back to you during the question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, again, apologies to the officials of Lagos State Ministry of Basic Education and Science. It's never an oversight. I just got beautiful information that you are online. Thank you so much for joining us. I have also Her Excellency, the Director of Science online now, the Director of Science of Ministry of Basic Education and Basic and Secondary Education, Mrs. Akinfoyewale Grace. Over to you, Mrs. Grace Akinfoyewa. Over to you, ma'am. We'd love to hear from you. Over to you, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Everybody just say do bossa for Mrs. Grace. Do bossa for Mrs. Grace. Three bossa. Let us see that the comment section. Bossa.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. And from your comments, I could see I have my bosses on ground. All protocols duly observed. I'm standing in for the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. I am the Director of Science and Tech. This afternoon, I'll just mention or make mention briefly of some of the things Lagos State has put on ground to ensure STEM as a catalyst to accelerating sustainable development. Now, in the first instance, what STEM is the acronym for science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And in recent times, art has been added. So we have STEAM. And it was one of the programs we had in Lagos State under the special assistant then, Dr. Salau. So looking at the question section, one of the students asked, is STEM meant for only science students? I would say no. It's meant for everybody. Then why STEM? Why do we even dig into STEM? Why is the state involved? Why is everybody, on the trend of STEM? And you find out that basically STEM promotes critical thinking. Like the last speaker also said, it promotes curiosity, persistence, good decision making, leadership, entrepreneurship, and acceptance of failure and knowing how to move forward. STEM also allows for acquisition of knowledge and skills and attitudes that are essential for development. If we also look further, it promotes innovation, creativity, and provide learners with opportunity to develop critical thinking, like I said before, problem solving, analytical skills, which are all essential for sustainable development. You will all agree with me that regardless of a child's career aspirations, all these skill sets will go a long way to help them sustain now and also prepare for the future. That's be as it may. Now, Lagos State, being a hub of economic and technological advancements, has recognized the importance of investing in the development of these fields to ensure a sustainable future. And the development is not just starting today, it started way back, though gradually, and now we are actually pushing in all fronts to ensure that we embrace technology to drive education, which is part of STEM. Now, in Lagos, a lot of things have been done to promote STEM. The government has been on the forefront of providing state-of-the-art STEM or science laboratories. And they've been in the provision of STEM-based softwares. When I say STEM-based softwares now, I'm talking of softwares that actually entrench the teaching of STEM, either the subjects or collectively in enlightening the students and knowing how they will apply this knowledge. The application is the driving force as it is now. Now, aside that, technology, which is more like a base for STEM, in Lagos State, the government have tried a lot. I would like to take us back to the COVID era. You know, despite the fact that we were unable to go to school as we are supposed to, but learning did not stop. Thanks to the vision and the support of the government, there was serious training for teachers on online teaching and learning, and there were training for other aspects, you know, to ensure that there is communication between the teachers and the students, whether they were at home. And they were also provided with smartphones, you know, just to ensure communication. However, one of the challenges we had then was internet connectivity. You know, where we had some providers making available for some parts of the state. And the state also went ahead to install what we call remote cloud servers. These remote cloud servers, the teachers can upload, and the students around that area, whether they are at home or in school, if they have a device, they can easily access whatever the teachers are sending across on that platform. In addition, like I said, when you embark on something and you want to actually know what has the impact, or what's the impact on these students or on your own development too. But taking a look back at the performances of these students, you know, in the past, I'll just mention a few. as a pointer to what we're talking about. Now, most times, apart from the academic performance, which during that period increased from, when I say academic performance, I'm talking of the WAEC performance, 5 credits in English and Maths and above. During that period, it increased from 30-something to 70-something. You could see the impact of technology in the teaching pedagogy. That is one. Aside that, there were a lot of national and global competitions, essay and researches that the students usually enter into. And the ones that involve projects, the projects are always tailored to solving environmental challenges. And you'll be shocked at the kind of responses from these students. Let me just mention recent ones. The JET competition for all the science students, usually holds finally at the national level. In the last one, 2023, Lagos State came first with 26 trophies, including presentation of projects. And this project came first looking at conversion of waste to useful energy. That is one. And from this competition, please, I'm saying this for the sake of our students that are online. Somebody said education is not scam. STEM is not scam. We are getting to a place of visibility, global visibility. And Lagos State is taking the lead. Now, these students, 4 of them, were given scholarship, university scholarship. And recently, there is the Young Scientist competition that involves all the 774 local governments. And the student that represented Lagos State came first. He's going to be given a cash award of ₦1 million. He's being given scholarship award to PhD level. Then last year too, Lagos State students represented the country at the Stockholm Water Prize competition in Sweden, and we came first in Africa. All those are project-based. The same thing in Panama for the World Robotic Olympiad, where all the countries all over the world converge. Lagos State also came second and third in the junior and senior category respectively. And like I said, if you look at all these things, they are project-based, addressing the environmental challenges. And all these developed from their STEM education, be it physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics as a subject. The application now is what we are looking at in the STEM education. Let me just stop on the various achievements so far. We have so many of them, but I know I don't have all the time. However, we must look over the challenges that lie ahead. Lagos State must continue to invest in STEM education, ensuring access and equal opportunities for all, regardless of socio-economic background or gender. It is crucial to address the gender gap in STEM fields, yes, and actively encourage the female participation by nurturing a diverse, inclusive community STEM professionals. Lagos State can tap into a broader range of perspective and innovation. And like I saw one of the teachers commenting that there are females in the STEM sector now. I can affirm that. There are more females coming into that field as teachers, as mentors now at the state level. In conclusion, Lagos State focuses on STEM education and innovation.
Very true.
undoubtedly making a profound impact on sustainable development by investing in education, nurturing innovation, and promoting collaboration. We cannot but acknowledge the partnership with your organization in various areas. It's been way back. Like I said, development of STEM education is not just now. And ever since, the organization has been partnering with Lagos State in various areas. Not to mention, the establishment of a secondary school in Tohon village in Badagry, where you donated about 12 classrooms, the teachers' lobby, and a lot of other facilities that will make it a complete secondary school. In addition, we have trainings, empowerment from an organization to our students, a lot of documentation about that. And we greatly appreciate this. The government cannot do it alone. So we welcome more partners to ensure that our students get quality education according to the SDG 4.4. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mrs. Grace Akinfoyewa. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. One of the beautiful things about your presentation is how neat, clean, and impactful is. Your presentation is valuable, all because all you share about is what Lagos State has done, what they were doing, and what they will continue to do better. Thank you so much. That means a lot to us. Madam Tinuke, with what you heard now, is there something you would like to comment on with the impact of Lagos State in education? That is how they are shaping STEM education with what you just heard. Madam Tinuke Okusaga.
All right, thank you, Tayo, and thank you to the director from the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Grace Akinfoyewa. Thank you for taking us through the journey of what Lagos State government is doing. All right, it's actually enlightening, to know this so much work is going on. Because recently I've taken keen interest, in grassroots education, especially at the basic level. And then there's still so much requirements in terms of, infrastructure. I remember to mark International Women's Day last year, I went with a company to a school in VI. There's a secondary school in VI where we went to enlighten them about opportunities in the telecom. The company is in the telecom space. And we went to talk to the girls about, how women can grow their career in telco. And then one of the feedback that came to us is power. We all know in Nigeria, we're all struggling with power. So somebody has donated a laboratory with computers, but, there's no power. And I think, Tayo, this is also a call to us. We're also thinking of developing capability around energy. I know solar is the way to go. And I think, how do we imbibe this into the curriculum? How do we further, update our curriculum to meet the demands of the current world we are in? Yes, Africa has a shortage of power. How do we, start developing the capability of those little ones right from school, to learn how to provide the heat, provide the energy they require to get their work done. So that school in Victoria Island, they have a lab, they have computers, but there's no power. All right. So I think what probably Lagos State needs to do more to engage the private sector, especially around powering those laboratories. Some already have that infrastructure, but when there is no power to make those things work, it doesn't achieve the desired result. So I will look forward to more in this area, and it will also be good to hear from Ms. Akinfoyewa, what is being done in the area of, powering those laboratories to meet the needs of the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Mrs. Grace, before you respond to that, we just want to share some of impact story just for 2023 with you and with everybody here, and also to show that we are grateful to Lagos State for giving us opportunity to work with them in molding life, creating opportunity for people to thrive, and building sustainable impact. So some of our impact projects for 2023, spring, yes. In 2023, these are some of the beautiful things we are able to achieve. We've been working with Lagos State government since 2008, and most of our works with Lagos State government in leadership, innovation has actually yielded great result. In 2023, we got accredited officially to United Nations Special Consultative Status with Economic and Social Council, which gives us opportunity to inspire, which gives us opportunity to join the United Nations in making policies. And this can be done. What's going on? And this is done, can be done from New York. And New York, Geneva, and Vienna. We're able to strengthen goal 4 and 5. So these are some of the impacts. 409 girls were impacted in 2003, 279 boys impacted in 2023, 600 copies of leadership books. Sorry, I have a little issue here. Someone is attacking my screen. Oh, I'll stop sharing. So these are some of the impacts 2023, and we are looking to have more to do with Lagos State. The project we have in Ayedire live now. Stop sharing. So someone is attacking my script. Thank you. Over to you, Mrs. And Grace Akinfoyiwa. Over to you to respond to that.
Thank you very much. On the issue of power, before now, most of our schools in the interior that were badly affected had solar a system installed, big ones installed in their schools, especially those are model colleges in the interior and some other schools, you know. And going forward, like one of the speakers said, what obtains now might not obtain in the future. We are looking into installing our labs with solar panels, not just installing labs now, but with power ensured, you know, for an impactful use. So the state government is looking into all these areas to ensure that they have adequate power in that area. And our principals too, they are also trying, you know, in those that have generators, they do power these generators when they need, when the teachers need to go to those laboratories. But like I said before, the government can't do it alone. We welcome more partnership, especially in this area that we just talked about. It's very important to us, and we're looking at ways of attacking it and overcoming that challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you so much. Thank you for your that wonderful clarification. It speaks a lot. Before we leave, we're about to end this program in a few minutes. Before we leave, we would like to take 3 and 4 questions, and I would love to add Mr. Doyin to this session, because we might have 1 or 2 questions for you as well, for people to actually ask as well. So if you have a question that needs to be addressed on the issue of STEM, we would love to take those questions now. Also, we would love to share that on the 17th and the 18th of March. On the 17th and the 18th of March, our team will be at the United Nations headquarters for the 68th session of the Committee of the Status of Women. We'll be working with Kwara State Government Office of the Special Advisor on Education, and we'll be talking about STEM. Not just talking about STEM, we'll be bringing more opportunities for artificial intelligence, telehealth, girls in climate.
I have a question.
For over 19 in 2024, between now and July, there are over 19 opportunities for young people between the age of 13 to 26 that they can benefit. It can benefit their school, it can benefit their family, individual, in solving the planetary health as well. And these opportunities are something that we want our young people to explore more, and also to be part of the national intention to shape the world at the United Nations. So those are some of the beautiful things we'll be embarking on in the first quarter and we'll be discussing more in achieving this. Over to you, Mr. Doyin Ijiwola, for your interactive session with the peers, especially on your project, when you talk about how you are engaging teachers or administrators to leverage or use tech for education, leading to EdTech scheme that can actually inspire the administrators, that can inspire the system as well. Mr. Doyin, over to you. The floor is yours. I'm going to add you to this. I'll be adding you to this point now. Over to you, Mr. Doyin. Mr. Doyin, are you there? Oh, it's no longer there. All right. Okay. Thank you. We'd like to take 1 or 2 questions. If you have a question, can I see your hands up? Hands up.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
So who created STEM?
Thank you so much. STEM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. However, I will allow our superior officer to actually answer your question, because they might have a broad perspective for you to answer that. Mrs. Tinuke, permanent secretary, still online now. She would love to hear you. Ma'am, these are your daughters asking this wonderful question.
Tayo, sorry, I missed what you said, Tayo.
Okay, I'm going to come back to that.
Okay.
Please, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sir, SDG and STEM, they are related, right?
All right, Mrs. Grace Akinfoyewa, please, over to you. If you're going to answer any of your students' questions, the first one is who created STEM, and the second one is SDG and STEM. Are they related? Definitely they are related, but I would love to hear from ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. The acronym STEM was coined in 2001 by Judith A. Ramali, a scientist from the National Science Foundation. It was before SMET, S-M-E-T, but now changed to STEM, to make it sound better. And it's as a result of our work in that foundation, and that is how it started, and it kept spreading, and the impact, was what is attracting people to that aspect of science. I hope I've answered that question.
You have answered
Hello.
the question. Thank you.
The second one, STEM is related to SDG 4, which is ensuring quality education. And one of the ways in which you can measure whether your education is of quality or not is the impact it's having on you as a student and the impact you yourself you are having on your environment, the solutions you are bringing up. So definitely it has to do with SDG, especially SDG 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Tinuke Bosun Okusaga. Mr. Doyin, if we are online, can you please lend your voice to those beautiful ones? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would like to have Mrs. Thank you, Mrs. Grace, for that wonderful session. Awesome. Over to you. Thank you so much. We are grateful for what you have been doing and what you have done also. We have part of our board of trustees here, Mrs. Olashibomi Shofowora. We spoke call her earlier. We called her earlier, but we love her to just be part of it. She has been wonderful. She has been wonderful. Just to say kind words through her, and also Mrs. Obi Jululuya, an agric scientist who has been actually doing wonderful things with agric science, which we were able to. We'll thought to be able to more partly, but our time is first spent. And Mrs. Luya, can you just say one or two words? Thank you so much.
Okay, good day, everyone. Good afternoon. Apologies, I couldn't join sooner. All the speakers have spoken excellently, and there's nothing missing, really. I want to also applaud Lagos State government on their efforts towards promoting STEM and Mr. Tayo for the great work he's doing through Do the Dream. I want to encourage every student to not let your curiosity die, because I think that is what really breeds STEM, and that's what will really make you benefit from STEM. If you're not curious, if you don't research, if you don't question things and find ways to provide solutions to existing problems around you, STEM will just be head knowledge for you. It will not be applicable and it will not benefit you or benefit the society. So the way to really engage STEM and benefit from STEM is by asking questions, being curious, researching on the internet, being conscious of the problems around you, but not being stuck in those problems, but finding ways relatable to you to solve those problems around you. And I believe in doing that through all the various subjects, whether it is tech, whether it is agric, whether it is engineering, mathematics, through whatever subject area, you'll be able to engage and benefit from STEM. Once again, thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you, Mrs. Luya, for that wonderful session. Mrs. Olashibomi Shofowora, apologies for this. I know it's early for you where you are. Apologies, but we had to be the one to disturb your wake you up like that. Apologies for that, but you just have to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Adipsi. Thanks for getting me on. And it was quite interesting to hear everyone speak. I think all the speakers have done justice to the topic. I had a few things I wanted to say, but right now I'm in transit, and I'll just say that thank you to everyone who's joined. Thank you to every speaker. And I think one thing that is, worthy to note for everyone that has joined the session is the fact that, don't see STEM as something that you can't get to, right? See it as an enabler. So in any profession, in any career that you have chosen for yourself, there is an embedment of STEM in it. And if you go through the chat session, there was an example I dropped there of a woman, Tammy, who set up a life bank, a blood life bank, and she's not a doctor, but she has created a solution in the medical space, even though she's an entrepreneur and not a doctor, right? So, and you find that in every career now, be it agriculture, be it communications, be it business, there's technology embedded in all of these professions. And you as an individual, what you need to do is to keep reinventing yourself, right? You need to keep learning, let you open up your mind. Just as the doctor that spoke, I think earlier on said, you need to open your mind to learning, right? The future. And you can see the example from during COVID and when to go online. Even right now, a lot of information, you find it online. Even, the arts, in the culture and art space, back in the day was stage plays, but now, like, you just open up your smartphone and you're watching a movie. That's technology, right? It doesn't have to be something, it doesn't have to be an invention like, the Aristotles of the world or, but you just looking deep within and looking at your environment and seeing how you can leverage technology to either be better or to, either put out your message there. So it's very, very important. So without wasting much of your time as well, because, it's been like 2 hours now. I appreciate everyone that has joined in. It's been, and I've been looking at the number of participants. I see that it's been steady on, and it means that this has been an engaging session for that to happen. I appreciate all the speakers. Very well said. Thank you, Adibusi, and well done for putting this together. Indeed, an engaging and impactful session. Bye now.
All right. Thank you, Olashubunmi Shofora, for that wonderful session. It's awesome. Thank you. Our time is fast spent. We're going to be rounding up now. Just final word from our speaker. Mr. Doyin Jiwola, are you online? So that you just say your final word. And okay, I can see you now, Mr. Doyin Jiwola. I actually want you to engage Mrs. Grace and with the team. I would love you to ask Mrs. Grace one question, Mrs. Luya, one question from Mrs. Grace, Mrs. Tinuke, one question from Mrs. Grace, and Olashubunmi, if you can, a question from Mrs. Grace. Mrs. Grace happens to be representing the permanent secretary of Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Lagos State. Over to you, ma'am. Over to you. The floor is yours.
Is it me or someone else, Taya?
You. The floor is yours,
Okay.
Mrs.
All right. Okay. To Mrs. Grace from Ministry of Education. I think my question will be around school children that are out of school. To be good to know what Lagos State is doing to get children back to school. I mean, it seems the number is growing by the day. You see them hanging around eateries, hanging around filling stations, and you certainly know that these children are from homes where probably their parents don't have access to education, and so the trend continues. It would be good to know what the efforts are and to see how Do the Dream can partner with the Ministry of Education in getting more children out of the streets into the classroom.
Thank you. In the case of children out of school, currently the state government is working on it. But I want us to look at it from this angle. And I wouldn't want to use as an excuse, but because we continue to make effort to ensure that things come into place or come in line. Every blessed hour, we have numbers of migrants into Lagos State, including their children. there are a lot of opportunities available apart from the schooling system, and even within the schooling system for students that we can call out of school children. Now, starting from the primary school level, we have the Project Zero. And what's this Project Zero? They go into communities and where they find children that are not in school, they equip them with uniforms, school bags, exercise books, bring them into the nearest school. That is one project, and it's still ongoing at the primary school level because the slogan is "Leave no child behind." In the secondary school level, we have what we call the comprehensive school program. And what is this comprehensive school program? It's like a skill acquisition, because you find out that most of the children that leave GSS3 may not be able to continue into SS1, or maybe they are no more interested in, or they're not interested in the education line anymore. So this school is created within our existing schools, not outside, where they acquire skills, you know, of their own interest, both digital and with the use of hands, starting from bricklaying, carpentry, agric, animal husbandry, electrician, and a lot of other programs like that that are in that school, within the school. So if you are interested willingly with the concept of the parents, you can switch to that area. So this is another step taken by the government to ensure that these children are not, you know, just left on their own. However, we are still working with other organizations, both national and international, to see how we can cope this. But if we look at the way we say this rate to Lagos State, children out of school is this one. Let us also look correspondingly with the rate of migration into the state. But as far as the state is concerned, it's an ongoing process and will definitely overcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you. Very enlightening and insightful. And we will keep in touch to see how we can work with you in doing more. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Doing. Over to you. Then Mrs. Luya, one question. There will Mrs. Olashibom Shufura, a question that will shut the event out. Mr. Doing, over to you.
Okay, I'm here. Sorry, I missed what you're expecting me to do right now. Hello? Mr. Tam.
There's a question for the Mrs. Grace, who is representing the Ministry of Education. Any question around the activities of the ministry?
Oh, okay. All right. So from what she said, I just noticed, like, she talked about the technical schools and some of the courses that she mentioned. I would be hoping that maybe there's an upgrade on the curriculum, maybe to add some other skills, maybe that are tech oriented, things like maybe sound production, video editing, graphic design, not just bricklaying. Those are good, plumbing and stuff. But are there also tech-oriented technical courses that some of the students can take in those technical schools?
Okay, thank you. Parts I mentioned, I said there are digital skills, you know, in this comprehensive school program, and we have things like photography, web designing. There are digital skills there. You know, that is just an aspect. So when you get there, you pick up your interest, and according to the curriculum which they already have for that skill acquisition, you are being imparted. So it's not just only handwork. There are, you know, opportunities for learning digital skills too.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Go ahead, Mrs. Luya.
Yes, please. Okay, so my question would be around if we can have things like inter-school competitions, even within the state, that where students can come and showcase some innovations that they come up with in their schools that are STEM related, products, services, and at the end of the day, such things can then be sponsored for further development. I think that if such things, I don't know if it exists. I want to know if it exists, and if not, if it can be created so that they can begin to experience in real life how they can be productive in terms of STEM related subjects, whether it's in relation to alternative energy, value addition in agriculture, waste reduction, or any tech kind of field. I'd like to know if that can be integrated. Thank you.
In terms of schools competitions, graduating to that level, we have platforms where we invite the students to bring up their innovations, even in collaboration with the Ministry of Agri, Commerce, and a lot of them, depending on the theme for that particular year. And I'm glad to tell you that in the recent past, we have graduated to the stage of winning grants, such that such projects can go on to the commercial level. There was one project we took for JET last year, which has to do with the production of animal feed. The student just used, I think, the seed of avocado pear and some other waste in their environment to produce a nutritious animal feed, which was tested, and it got a grant of 5 million last year from LASRIC, which is also a Lagos State, arm of an agency, for them to ensure that that product graduates the commercial level. And there was one before that. That one has to do with water, purification of water. It came from a school near Barua. Most of the water there are already polluted with petrol. So they were looking for means of purifying the water that is not expensive. And they were able to use things like moringa seed. And by the time they passed through some of the processes they learned from their STEM subjects, they came out with pure water. That was also enhanced, through with the grants through this LASRIC project. So gradually we've been graduating, not just them exhibiting now, but from exhibition, where do we go from there? We need to encourage them to come into the limelight and affect their immediate environment. So we have platforms, not only one, and we are looking into partnering with other people to ensure that we have more platforms like that, where we can develop, we can discover more innovations and creativity from the students. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good. I'm hoping that the schools, because I saw someone post in the chat, can we have the link to these platforms? So I'm sure that Mr. Tayo would help cascade that information so that most of the schools have it and they can fully participate. Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Luya. Abisoye, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. My question was based on getting the link for those platforms.
Okay. Our director, Mrs. Grace, I hope we can have this handy.
Yes, what we usually do is send this invitation to the various district headquarters.
Okay.
And from there, they are supposed to disseminate that information to the schools around them. However, going forward, we'll partner with Do the Dream Youth Development, and each time this opportunities comes up, we'll be able to share the necessary information. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Abisoye, what school do you attend?
Vetland Junior Grammar School.
Where is that?
It's located at Agege Old Abeokuta Road.
Agege. Okay. All right.
I think they usually ask the students to come up with projects and they compete at the district level. So the best from the district is now being brought, to the state platform. So I'm not sure, maybe he hasn't heard of it, or maybe the school have not been participating, but it's not a new thing.
Okay. Abisoye, you may want to find out from your school teachers, so that you can be part of the next one. Okay, thank you. Mohammed, do you have a question too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Who created STEM? And how did it started?
Who created STEM? STEM is all around us, is what we see. We said the STEM is an acronym, all right, for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, all right? So STEM came with education, all right? Science, the world around us, technology, the cars we drive, the machines we use, engineering, the things that produces those cars and the machines we see around us, and also mathematics. You do mathematics in school. All right, so STEM came with education. So if you can go back in history and find out, when did education start? That was when STEM started. All right, Mohammed.
Okay, can I come in, please?
All right, please go ahead.
Yes, I think I answered that question. Maybe he was not listening then. I told him the acronym was coined in 2001 by Judith Ramali, a scientist working with the National Science Foundation. I mentioned that. And like you said, if we looked around us, even before then, STEM has been all around in all the innovations, discovery, electricity, car, airplane. They must have applied STEM to come to that level. That student, are you still here?
Yes, ma.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, ma. Mohammed, I'm sure you have the answer to your question. All right.
Yes, ma.
All right. To round this up, Mrs. Shubomi, do you have a question for the director?
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. And it's great to see all the great things that Lagos State is doing to address the education gap. So the question I just have is it has to do with the curriculum, as well as the important role that teachers play in ensuring that we bridge the education gap in the country and in the state. So beyond students just going to school, also the issue of them actually getting the required learning. So I would just like to know the plans that the state government has in place, that the ministry has in place to empower teachers, especially in upskilling themselves. So a teacher that, for example, is teaching business or teaching mathematics, how can they, upskill themselves in a way that they embed technology into, the learnings for even the children, because obviously that's the future. So my question is just surrounded around, how teachers how their capacity is being expanded in helping bridge this gap. Thank you.
Thank you, Tinuke. Now, the question, I'll take it in 2 sessions. One, the curriculum, and the second one, the teacher's professional development. In terms of the curriculum, sometimes 2022, 2023, the Lagos State on its own did a project to rejig the curriculum. The main curriculum comes from the national, and you can't add anything to it without their adoption. But when we saw the gap, the learning gap in the curriculum, the government had to swing into action, because we have to ensure that what we are actually giving the students, one, is what they actually need, and in ways they can easily understand and get themselves familiar with. Because if you are teaching me something in abstract, I cannot relate to everyday life, I may not easily remember it. But if it's something I can relate to in everyday life, definitely there's no time you will spring up a question on it and I won't be able to answer. So that was kind of rejigging of the curriculum that period, and we have launched it. And to make it easier for teachers, we converted it to the digital format, rather than the hard copy. Though we still have the hard copy and we had the e-form too. That's the curriculum aspect. Then in terms of teachers' development, there are a lot of programs going on, to ensure that teachers are properly endowed. Like I mentioned, during the COVID period, there was a lot of training that actually went on that period to ensure that teachers were able to brace up to e-teaching and learning. If you agree with me, it's not everybody that was conversant with that, as at that time that pandemic happened. So we had to brace up, ensure there was a lot of professional development in that area. And I'm sure today, most of our teachers can impart online more than even if they are in the classroom. That's the aspect. Then engaging technology in this area for the teachers. I just want to mention one example. Currently, we are partnering with an organization from UK on teaching of junior school mathematics. And basically, what they do is they have this software, attached to WhatsApp. All the students you need to do is get a code with your WhatsApp platform, engage those questions, and you will get a feedback. Your teacher will get a feedback. One, it's good for the students for their practice towards the examination. And secondly, for the teacher will know the weak area of these students. So even if he or she is going to go back to the classroom, you will know which area to face. However, this program is being done in pilot phases. We have large number of schools, so we are gradually engaging all the schools. So it might not have cut across, but we are gradually moving towards that end. And as we are introducing that, we are carrying the teachers, we are onboarding the teachers, because the teachers that will guide those students in the application of that technology, apart from the fact that they will get the feedback, to know how to impart the students. In addition, we do go for, or we do engage teachers in, I'm talking from the ministry now, in trainings, taking them to the national level, taking them to maybe science institutions for particular trainings and programs. Aside that, there is a larger body, which is the TESCO, who is saddled with training of teachers. And I'm sure that every now and then there are particular training for one set of teachers or another. So we are not leaving our teachers alone in terms of professional development and infusion of technology. And we are still working on it. It's an ongoing work, and we'll get there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ma. Shubomi, I hope you got that entire conversation from Mrs. Grace. Okay.
Yes, I did. And, very well said, Ma'am. And, kudos to you and the team on the great work you're doing. I know it can't be easy, but, one step at a time. Thank you so much for that very elaborate response.
All right, thank you. So one last question from Khadijat before we close the room. Khadijat, what do you have to say? Khadijat, are you there?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is... Yes, ma'am. I'm here, ma'am.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Adedokun Khadija Adedayo. I am a teacher in Education District 6 in Lagos State here. Now, I'd like to commend Ms. Grace in order to buttress what she has just said. I have attended 2 STEM trainings between last year and this year, organized by the state. So Lagos State is actually doing a lot to carry the teachers along. They are actually certified as well. So I can tell you that Lagos State is trying as far as carrying the students along, as far as improving STEM. Right. My question now is that I would like to know what the ministry is doing concerning giving students orientation, right? When we talk about their enrollment in SS1, that is from GSS3 to SS1, the students have 3 choices, that is science, commercial, and the arts department. So I would also like to know, because when we enrolled, that's the last enrollment we had for this current session, somewhere at the middle of the last term, the children had to do aptitude tests to know where their strengths lie, either science, commercial, or arts. It came later than usual, and I'd just like to say or suggest that it's such orientations or such aptitude tests should come immediately after their junior WAEC, so that before they even enroll, they would have known where they are coming to in the senior secondary school. So that is to be done before they come into the secondary school, not when they are already there. And then some of these children don't even know what they are supposed to do. Majority of them don't know. The orientation, we start telling them in SS. Some of them get to SS2, then they say they want to go back to science. They want to they want to start from SS1 again. And they've already gotten to SS2. And some even get to SS3, do the senior WAEC, before they actually start thinking about, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? So I'd just like the ministry to introduce their aptitude tests earlier and also work on the orientation of the students so that they can make their choices earlier. Thank you, ma'am.
Over to you, Mrs. Grace. I hope you got that.
Yes, I got it. Thank you. Looking at that scenario, there is always one out of many. However, that aptitude test is supposed to be an advice to the school or the teacher. And definitely they will be in SS1. Even if it came around that time, there is nothing stopping a reorganization based on a proper reorientation of the students. Look at your score in this, look at your score in this. This is the area where you belong. This is the area where, your psych shows you have more interest. However, it could come earlier than, but there are always a lot of circumstances surrounding particular programs, which we always work our way around and ensure that those things are actually carried out. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Very enlightening and refreshing to hear from a teacher testifying to the work that is being done and also bringing up suggestions on improvement. All right, thank you everyone. It's been almost a whole day. We'll wrap it up at this juncture. My special thanks to the Lagos State Ministry of Education, to the SA, to the Kwara State Government on Education, and then to our distinguished panelists for making this happen. We look forward to seeing more work being done, more progress being made in closing the gap in STEM. And then with cooperation from every one of us, we trust that this will happen. Thank you once again for your time. I wish you all the best and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye. Bye, students. Thank you for your time. Onuga.
I have a question, very quick.
Okay, let me hear your question, even though we have ended. So let me hear your question, Nuga.
My question is that how can we achieve this STEM when we don't have enough equipment in our schools?
Yes, that is part of what Mrs. Grace had talked about, that Lagos State is doing a lot of work and also looking forward to partnerships. So that is why we are having this conversation, so that people that can promote education, promote STEM in our schools will also listen and know that this is where the gaps are. All right, this forum is supposed to be a platform to bring up all the issues. Now that you've mentioned it, that there are no enough equipment, this message will get to the appropriate quarters, and then the equipment, the infrastructure our school needs will be provided. So thank you for bringing that up, and then the relevant parties or stakeholders are listening to make the change happen. So thank you, Shalom.
Ma, how do we know the right department to join when we're about to enter the senior secondary school?
Okay, one of the teachers just talked about that. Mrs. Khadija said there will be a test. So you write an aptitude test. So that aptitude test will show where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. So from the result of that test, they will advise you, all right? And then you can make a decision from there.
Okay, ma'am.
Regenerating vulnerable gadgets.
Right, thank you.
Provides power bank. It uses power, electric power. It is an alternative to electric source. Copper wire and all that devices. Now, you're going to put this thing down. Charger to charge it. Now, let's try this. And we also got 6 challenges,
Má lè ṣe tán. Mi ò lọ pè wọ́n.
Mi lọ pè wọ́n bá gbọ́dọ̀ lọ Sunday.
perfect house streets like the song. Then it is also lot shaped and cut on nylons. Then
Tí wà tó máa wọ̀ sínú ẹ̀ o. Owó lọ gbà ń kàkọ́ lọ máa wọ̀ sínú ẹ̀. Ti tán àbí? Àgbóhùn wọn mọ́ nísìnyí.